Long down the right side, caught, touchdown, Washington State.
Long three.
What a catch by Phillip Bobo.
The Palusa's gonna pop.
Welcome back to another edition of the FieldHouse Report. I'm Drew Kalahar along with Darrin, Carlson, and we're excited to bring you another episode. Be sure, if you get a chance, if you like the content that we're putting out, to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us a lot. Do our thing, and we're looking forward to doing this all season long, and all the support we can get always helps. Darrin, how are you doing?
And I'm doing great. I'm actually in McCall, Idaho, and got my little Happy Gilmore golf hat on as we're about ready to go play some golf tomorrow. And yeah, man, I'm just excited. It's good to be here with family and go camping. And yeah, it's nice.
Please tell me you're going to wear the state tank top when you're out there tomorrow.
Tomorrow, no, I got to go traditional polo,
Yeah, that's a
and
good call.
I got to go with that. I'll send you a photo for tomorrow, though. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I think we have to post your score to the YouTube channel, so that way.
No, if Happy Gilmore had like a nephew or a cousin that was just a little bit worse at the start of Happy Gilmore 1, that would be me. That's who I am. I'm that bad.
All the profanity, all the fist throwing, putting with a hockey stick.
I don't know about putting with a hockey stick. I did play a little hocky growing up,
There
but
you go.
yeah,
Okay.
the profanity, throwing of the clubs in the airs, F this, I can't stand it. I get so frustrated, man.
Gotta have it sometimes. The golf that I was once told, I'm sure other people have heard this before too, but the reason why it's called golf is because another 4-letter word was already taken. So.
No kidding. Yeah, I
All
love
right.
it.
Well, on this episode, we want to shake things up a little bit. Right now, Cougar Nation, I'm sure what you're hearing mostly is realignment talk, media deals, lawsuits, a lot of, important stuff, but maybe not the most fun. We're going to break things up a little bit here, and we're going to talk about the 2025 Cougar football season. So we're going to start off talking a little bit high level about some of our expectations, some of the top questions heading into the season. And then we'll actually break it down game by game, go through some of the opponents that the Cougs are going to face in 2025, and both have our final records and predictions here. Before we start, though, I have to say everything that I say in this podcast, it has an asterisk by it because I'm forever a Coug optimist. Every year, no matter how bad we are, for some reason in my brain, I think the next week's going to be better and we're going to get it all figured out. So just a fair warning before we get too deep into it.
Yeah, I'm certainly an eternal Cougar optimist as well, but sometimes reality is there. But let's carry on there, Drew.
All right. So first question as we start to talk about the season, what are your expectations and thoughts on the Cougs for the 2025 campaign, just at a high level? What can we expect starting August 30th?
Well, I certainly think we're going to take down Idaho right off the bat. I have no doubt about that. I've got us in a really competitive game against San Diego State, and an even more competitive game against that school from the other side of the state. It's certainly going to be a close one. And I'll take the Cougs 27-24 in that game. A little bit more offense. And that's kind of what I'm expecting this year is even though he's defensive minded, and I think our defense is going to carry us a lot more.
Yeah.
I do think with our pound and ground model, with the likes of how he has his play style set up, I think we're going to be a much more efficient offense to behold. And I think a lot of teams are going to be a little surprised to see what the Cougs have because they're not used to playing this style of offense or haven't in a while. So
yeah, for me, I look at the season and I really feel like the defense is what Coach Rogers leaned on at SDSU. In 2023, SDSU only gave up 9.3 points per game. Last year, they gave up a few more, but I still think that when his system is fully implemented, it means you're dominating on defense. And then that feeds into the offense because they don't feel like they have to carry, right? That takes the pressure off of everything. You run the football, you shorten the games. SDSU ran the ball 60% of the time last year. So that's something we're definitely going to see the Cougs do this next year. And so I feel like just kind of at a high level without getting into wins and losses, I think that what's probably going to happen is I think the offense, with some of the returners we have on the offensive line, with hopefully Zebi, it sounds like he's been really taking charge of the offense in the offseason from a leadership perspective. You actually have some pretty solid wide receivers and tight ends. I think the offense is actually going to get off the ground pretty quickly next season, despite the new system. I think the defense, which will be the strength ultimately, is going to take a little bit to get going. I'm a little worried about the defensive line going into the season. So my prediction at a high level is the start of the season is a little bit rough. I think maybe we drop one that most Coug fans are looking at as a W before the season starts. But I'm excited. I think the end of the season, we finish strong and do just enough to get into a bowl game. And everybody's looking forward to the 2026 campaign at the end of the season. So we'll see how it goes. But first year head coach, you never know. You never know. So I kind of got into it a little bit there, but
That's totally fine.
what are you seeing as maybe some of the hardest stretches of the schedule, must wins, as you look at the 2025 football schedule?
Let's get it out the way. The must win is UW again. We need to put the pressure on them to make sure that this game is continually put on the schedule for years to come. And we need to make sure that they feel the pain of it, because last year was very painful for them. Let's be honest, to lose like that on a goal line stand when they are such brash fans and they just, you know, to do that and have Kyle Thornton just lay down the hammer was pretty special. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a must win. I think honestly, with how we handled Oregon State last year, I really think Oregon State's are two must wins for us. And I really think it's to send a message to the new Pac-12. I think the same thing with San Diego State. Any of these teams that we're playing, we have to try and send the message to. I think the big one is going into the SEC, right? Like everybody's probably talking about that one and going to Ole Miss. I've been there before. Beautiful stadium, great fans.
Yeah.
They've got, yeah, just a great fan base. But I think those are the three big ones that we
Yeah.
must win. Is UW, Oregon State twice, and if we can get those done, then I think Jimmy Rogers is going to have more fans in the seats in 2026.
Yeah. You bring up an interesting point. I've been kind of thinking about this. Maybe this is a pipe dream, but if let's play this hypothetical out. If the Cougs beat the Dogs in Pullman and then they return the favor, like let's say we win, it's a 4-year Apple Cup deal that we have, I believe.
Currently, yep.
We beat them 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4 or something along those lines do you think that there's a chance that they don't renew with us because for them, in their eyes, maybe it's a high risk, low reward situation? Kind of like how I felt about us playing Eastern, honestly, for a while. It's like if we beat them, nobody cares, but they're a solid FCS school. So if there's a chance that you lose, and then everybody points their finger at the end of the season and says, well, you lost to Washington State. You think there's a chance they don't renew just based on that?
Yeah, there's two things that they should be honestly excited about. We had NBC last year, right? Or Peacock, whatever you could get your hands on to be able to watch it. So it was a nationally broadcasted game. What are we doing this year? We got CBS, right? CBS is the result of what our contract is now.
Right. Yeah, right. You'd argue
So
that actually we had more exposure on the game that we're hosting.
in some respects, we do, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where like the idea that certainly they can go grab more money with the likes of being in the Big Ten, but between travel costs and everything, like the exposure on just both national as well as, right in the state of Washington or right there against the Idaho border or Oregon border or, not too far from Oregon. These are all, great wins for them. And I think even the game being played at 4:30 or potentially 5 p.m., that only puts it at 7:30 Eastern time or 8 o'clock Eastern time, which makes it reasonable to be able to watch. And last year's game was early in the day too. So
you bring up a good point. I think it's logistically speaking, it's a good deal for them because they don't have to travel. They travel for so many of their other games outside of the time zone. Yeah, that's a good point. And in their eyes, even if we beat them the next couple of years, they're probably seeing that gap as far as the revenue goes widening, which will probably give them the advantages as it goes.
2029 or 2030 that they're going to get that
Bullshit.
deal. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one
So
there.
they're waiting so long, but they have to like continually step up their fundraising through the next 5 years.
Right.
At what point will fans, as well as whatever, say, well, we're not the top dog again, respectfully, in the Big Ten? I mean,
Sure.
you still have Michigan, you still have Ohio State,
Yeah.
as teams that are always competing there. And certainly Oregon, obviously, with Uncle Phil in their back pocket, they're not at a lack of resources, and that isn't to say that UW is, has a lack of resources, but at a certain point, a fan base is kind of going to get tired because they've put so much in that they can't get enough out. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that looks.
We'll see. I think as I look at the schedule, the hardest stretch obviously comes after the first bye week. After the first bye, we have at Ole Miss, followed by at Virginia, followed by Toledo at home,
Hmm.
followed by Oregon at Oregon State. Those 4 games, in my opinion, makes or breaks the season. And not in the aspect that I expect them to win all of them by any means. But if you can go 2-2 in that stretch, you can get 2 wins out of that stretch. You beat Toledo, and then maybe you steal one from Virginia. Um, Virginia hasn't been a great program over the last few years, but they do have 8 starters returning on defense. They do have Chandler Morris, the North Texas transfer that looks really solid. Um, so that could be those. At Ole Miss is obviously going to be tough for a lot of reasons. I just look at that portion of the schedule and say, if we can steal 2, that puts us in a really good position outside of those games to win enough games to make it to a bowl game. So that'll be make or break time. A lot of travel in there as well. So we'll see. We'll see. And I do think that that's probably about when, in my prediction, I think that that's when the defense will start to turn it on, and we'll start to see what Jimmy Rogers coach defense really looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have the ultimate faith in how his defense is going to run. And I say this just because I've seen him in person, I've seen him at practice, or, everything. And he is just like, as the great Jack Thompson, the throwing Samoan, said, he's as serious as a heart attack, man. And I'll tell you, that guy is as serious as a heart attack. And
Even when he's getting his coffee in the morning, my wife saw him leaving Roost the other day, and she said that he had his patented, scowl on as he was walking out of the coffee shop. So
they should I mean, he doesn't even need it tattooed. It'll be wrinkled in that way, right? It's just a level of stubbornness that I just love about him that's just different, because for me as a player, I would have wanted to play for a guy like Jake Dickert. But when you see this guy too, there's a different evolution that's come. And we're now bringing back the tight ends. We're bringing back play action that's going to open up for the pass, which will help us. And I think as long as the offensive line, and this is where the offense is a little bit more, how is our offensive line going to hold up
yeah,
and changing direction with the few that we have coming back and seeing how that goes. I'm just a little nervous on that aspect. The defense, I'm a little bit more positive about at this point,
yeah.
because I saw them flying around like madmen at that spring scrimmage. So
And for anybody that was there and got to see it, or actually probably more for the people that didn't, there's so many plays where it looked like the offense had kind of blown a hole open, or the play was developing, and you thought, okay, this is going to be a 5-6 yard gain at least. Maybe the guy breaks it. And the speed of the defense and the tackling, I mean, stuff closed up in a hurry. And that's what you see when you watch the film of SDSU from the last 2 years. Gone back and watched their game against Incarnate Word. There's so many plays where it looks like the offense is executing and doing their thing, and the defense just fills gaps. They fly in. It's so many hats to the football, and they eat stuff up before it even gets 1 or 2 yards. So they really strangle offenses that way, and it's going to be so refreshing to see on the Palouse after the last few years. I mean, Jake Dickert, we say defensive-minded coach. Well, we gave up over 30 points a game last year.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There's a fire lit under his butt, and to some extent, I understand why Wake Forest picked him up, but um, we'll see how that plays out for Wake Forest and Jake Dickert. He might be back in the sidelines in a different, a hat that he'll wear, but we'll see.
right.
Good luck to him. Wish him the best. Um, yeah, no, I think Rogers is the guy we need at the right time right now. just that sense of seriousness and focus that he has is just so refreshing. It's like something we haven't seen. And I'm not saying that Mike Leach was totally serious, but in how he coached and how he created expectations. You could tell that Jimmy Rogers has a little bit more of that blend and finesse in that coaching aspect in how he communicates with his players
Yeah.
because he is very serious, but then he's like, okay, this is what we got to do, right? And he's building rapport, and that's again, it's a good blend with Jake Dickert and Mike Leach, I think, with Jimmy
Yeah.
Rogers. So
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. He's just football obsessed, right? He was on Michael Bumpus' show a couple weeks ago, and they asked him, and they said, "Okay, we've heard you talk about being with your family. We've heard you talk about coaching football. What are some hobbies that you do outside of your family and football?" And I kid you not, this man just went, uh, for like 10 full seconds. And then he eventually goes, "Well, I like when we get our whole staff together and our families are all together and we get to spend." That's the same thing, man. You literally have no hobbies outside of coaching football, but that's who you want and you're in this role. It's in some ways on a personality level, it's like the anti Mike Leach, like he's only interested in one topic and it's football.
yeah, and I think with that, I kind of like respect where he's at. I don't really read too much into it. He's fun and in a different way. I think you just have to learn to appreciate it, right? Like
Yep.
getting used to Mike Leach was something that I kind of had to do because there's a part of me that was like, he says the most oddball things, but then like you keep reading into it and it just becomes more funny and
Yep.
hilarious everything he says. So
Yeah, absolutely. So August 30th, sun shining on the Palouse, the hills golden, all harvested by now. Trust me, they're working on it. I think this week. 7 p.m. the sun setting, and it's going to be the Cougs and the Vandals on the CW. Last year, Idaho was pretty solid, almost knocking off Oregon at their place, making a pretty good run in the FCS playoff. But now they have a new coach. They've lost a lot of players. What do you see? How do you see this game going for the Cougs and the debut of Jimmy Rogers?
yeah, I say we'll keep it a little bit of a high scoring game based on whether it's like a turnover or whatever. Let's say 30, I don't want to say high scoring, but 35-21 Cougs. That's where I see that game. I think it'll be more of, who makes more mistakes in that first game because it's like that first game jitters
Totally.
and who's gonna kind of get through the jitters and focus on what they can control.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's actually something that worries me a little bit in this first game. Both teams coming out with new head coaches. I do think there's going to be an element of who kind of makes that first big play and gets the momentum in their favor. And that's the only way I see us losing this game is if we come out and we're super flat and we're kind of trying to come from behind right out the gate. I
yeah.
think the main goal for the Cougs here is to get out to a fast start, make a big play early, and sort of make Idaho feel like, okay, we're the FCS school in this stadium. My other prediction outside of that, I think the Cougars will take care of business. It might be ugly for a little bit. Is that I do think it'll be a pretty good crowd. The last time, I think it was in 2022, that Idaho played in Martin Stadium. It was a fantastic environment. There's a
Yeah.
ton of Idaho fans. It kind of felt like a bowl game a little bit where no matter who scored, there was loud cheers. So I'm looking forward to that. And camping with the Cougs will be debuting at this game where they're going to let people for only $250. You can camp right
Stay
outside the
two
stadium
nights.
in the tent. Yeah, $250, 2 nights, parking pass. Come on, let's go. Get out
What
there.
could be better, right? Like you really should be able to show up to some games for this type of,
Yeah,
cost that you can get early on in the season. There shouldn't be any complaints with getting to the likes of Idaho and certainly the next opponent, which would be the following weekend, and that is San Diego State. San Diego State is one
game.
of the yeah, new potential well, it'll be a future Pac-12 game, but right now they're still in the Mountain West. But I think it'd be really exciting to watch that game and see how San Diego State responds because I think even though they weren't a strong team last year, they've always been the type that can be relatively competitive in the
Yeah.
Mountain West, and I think that they'll be able to push the Cougs to get them ready for, the next week, but more importantly, the following week after that. So.
Yeah, 3-9 last year for San Diego State, which is not great. They do return quite a few starters, especially on defense. They're going to have 10 coming back. but they were atrocious on defense last year, giving up over 200 yards a game on the ground. So I think this bodes well for the Cougs. I think they are able to run the ball. But you bring up a good point. San Diego State is picked, I think, 3rd or 4th in the Mountain West this next season. So people are expecting them to get better. I just think at this point in the season, they're not quite there yet. And I think the Cougs win by 10. I think they come out of the gates hot, and then San Diego State maybe pushes them a little bit in the second half. But I do think that the Cougs get to 2-0 on homecoming on September 6th. So
Yeah, I
2-0.
got
So see, this is why we're
28-17. That's my score.
optimists right here. Here we go.
Yeah,
We have them
yeah,
undefeated already.
yeah. No, that's yeah. And going into week 3, even going into the next week, we've got North Texas in North Texas.
Don't like this one.
They're they're okay. They're not a bad team by any stretch, North Texas. But our former offensive coordinator, Eric Morris, now the head coach of North Texas, came out with a quote when he was asked about potentially joining the Pac-12 as a travel partner for Texas State, and he said, "Nah, the Pac-12 is the old Mountain West now." How do you feel about that,
Pretty
Drew?
savage. Pretty savage. I get what he's trying to. I get what he's getting at. I guess. It's not. I don't think it's true. But something tells me that maybe the offer to North Texas wasn't quite as serious, and he's kind of speaking for. It's kind of a weird stance to take, in my opinion. Like, was anybody really ever considering adding North Texas? Not that I heard of. So I don't know. It's a weird take, especially considering he was ROC here for a while. But whatever. I think it's good bulletin material as we head into the next season.
Just something for Jimmy Rogers to use as fuel. So yeah,
Exactly.
I've got the Cougs kind of going down there and putting a little bit more of a wiping of the floor with them, and I've got
Really?
yeah, I do
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
I've
They're
got
hot
I've
start.
got a 31-14. That's what I've got.
Okay, 31-14 Cougs. Okay, so here's why. Let me tell you why I'm worried about this. Okay. 12:30 p.m. at North Texas. It is going to be hot on September 13th. Now, the Palouse is hot too.
Humidity.
So they'll be,
Yeah.
but that humidity might be tough. So I'm a little worried about that. I'm a little worried about this is to me, and this is why I talked about the defense being the key to the season. If our defense is there, like you're already starting to see some of that patented Jimmy Rogers defense. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I
Yep.
actually agree with your prediction. I think we kind of strangle them. They don't know it, but they scored over 34 points a game last season. They did have a terrible defense. I just don't want to I worry if we get into that kind of game with them where they're scoring a bunch. I talked about the offense being there, but I don't know if we're like 40 points a game
I said
type of
31. I
offense.
didn't say 40
Yeah,
yet. I
yeah.
didn't say
So
40 yet.
I'm just saying this one really worries me. I think this might be the one that we lose early in the season that people are kind of like, oh man, we missed the air raid. Oh man, we would have won this game if we were running the air raid like we were back in the day. So I'm gonna put this down as the Cougs' first loss of the season, or
Okay,
two
you take it. I won't.
and one. I hope
All
not.
right.
I
No.
hope not.
No, we'll cut Drew off right there, folks. Don't you worry. He's not going to get another word in about this one. All
All
right.
right,
The next
next
one,
week.
the big, 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 big one, Apple Cup on the 20th of September. And it is currently right now the 22nd of July. So just under 2 months
Yep.
away.
Yep.
Drew and I will be there. It's going to be a good game. I think it'll be a competitive game. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. As I previously stated, I think the Cougs will etch out, and the difference again will probably be either a fumble recovery, an interception, someone that just gets a deflection deep in the Husky zone, whatever it is, and then Cougs come down and are able to win it with a field goal.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm so excited about this. And one of the reasons why I'm excited for this game is just seeing Martin Stadium back to what we got so used to during the Leach era for big games. I think that's going to be the environment that we have at this one. It's
It's going to
probably
be a
going to
ruckus
sell out.
crowd.
Single game tickets go on sale tomorrow morning to the general public. I have a hunch that we'll hear that it's sold out within the next couple weeks. So that'll bode well for the Cougars. The Huskies are going to be much better this season. Jonah Coleman and Damon Williams, both in the backfield. The Cougs had a pretty tough time taking down Jonah Coleman for the majority of the game last year. If Damon Williams is progressing and he comes out next season, I've heard that he's already put on a little bit of weight. It's a little bit faster, a little bit stronger than he was last year. This could be a really, really big test for that Jimmy Rogers defense. I'm not even. I want us to win this game so bad,
So
but I'm
then you're
gonna.
going to leave
I'm
it open-minded. That's
I'm
it.
just gonna. Yes, I'm gonna leave it open. I'm gonna say open-minded is the code word for the other reason, the other word. But yeah, I will. I do
Yeah.
have to just really quickly say how refreshing it's been to be past the Mike Leach versus Coach Peterson matchups in the Apple Cup, because I do have hope that it's at least just going to look like a normal game. Those matchups, and we talked to Luke Falk about it a little bit, but those matchups where it was Leach versus Peterson were just like you weren't even watching the same team that you had watched all season. So I'm just so glad we moved past that. We're 2-2 in Apple Cup since the end of that era. So yeah, much nicer to see these games be kind of back to what they always were, which is highly competitive, really close, and fun to watch.
Yeah, I think that's where us having the game early in the season, as I will credit my father-in-law, who's just downstairs as I'm recording here, plays into our hands versus theirs. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Love it.
But yeah, I think the only thing that's really that subtlety that, or not, it's not subtle, but Drew, we've talked about it, but the Huskies roster is just a little bit more mature than they were last year. They're a little bit more seasoned.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be ready to go and
Yeah.
fired up. And for those that did return, they're going to be pretty antsy to try and get that win for sure.
Yes. Yes. So I have the Cougs at 2-2 now. What is are you saying win this one?
27. Yeah, I've got us undefeated
Yeah.
through 4. That's what I've
Okay.
got.
4-0 Cougs. Now, do we crack the top 25 at that point, or are we still sitting?
Yeah, I think if we
outside?
beat Washington at four at
Yeah.
4-0, yeah, we would be the top 25 for
So
sure.
Darrin has them 4-0 and number 5 in the country. I have them
Not number 5 in the country. What's wrong with you? No, top 25.
And then I will have the Cougs at 2-2, and I will say that the people that maybe are doubting Jimmy Rogers are very vocal at this point in the season. I think they're saying, "What are we doing? This is what happens when you hire an FCS coach." No, here come the Paul Wolf days. It's gonna be there's gonna be doubters at this point, but I won't be worried. I think we'll be just fine. So we move now to another sneaky tough game against Colorado State. Last season, that will be on the road again, down there in Fort Collins. Last year, Colorado State had one of the best seasons they had in a long time. They ended up being 8-5, but they
Right.
only returned 6 total starters. So they're kind of starting fresh. What do you see shaking out in this one?
This is where I have our first loss, and I'll tell you
Hey.
why. With that rise, with the
Yep.
likes of all the emotions and energy from playing so well,
Yeah.
sometimes there's that inevitable letdown. And I think it happens at an away game with Colorado State. I think Colorado State probably maybe squeaks by us 28-24, 28-21, somewhere in there. But I just think that for some reason, all the emotions of beating the Huskies again would be right there. And sometimes those letdowns do happen. And we've seen them throughout the years, right? So,
Yeah. Just ask San Jose State how tough we were when we came out on Friday night after beating UW last year. We
my
looked
point
pretty
exactly.
yeah, we looked pretty slow. I'm gonna go the opposite. So I have them at 2-2 at this point. I think they're gonna come out of that Apple Cup pissed off. And I think that they come out and really take it to Colorado State. I think with how many guys they lost last season, I don't think that I mean, yeah, I just like the Cougs in this one. I think this is where we start to see the defense really show up. And while Fort Collins can be a tough place to play, as we saw back in 2022, that stadium can also empty out pretty quickly when you're or that was 2023, when you're winning. So, I like the Cougs in this
Yeah.
one. I think it's kind of a statement game. We feel a lot better about the start of the season after winning this one and move to 3 and 2. Now, you get a much I will say this while the schedule is weird and tough and all the things above, it is nice. The buys are almost perfectly spaced out throughout the season. You get one here now on October 4th after you play that first slate and before you start to make some of these East Coast trips. So the buy on October 4th and then 9:45 Pacific time. Breakfast with the Cougs as they take on Ole Miss on the SEC network.
I will be there. I'm
All
really
right.
excited to go again and stay with my friend who
Yeah.
happens to work for the athletic department. So it'll be fun. I'll be tailgating with his family early in the morning.
Nice.
And I'll be taking a buddy with me. Unfortunately, it's Ole Miss. It's Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
It's it's just different. I think in this game there's going to be a, a learning curve that's going to happen, and I think it's both going to be physicality and technique that are going to be something that's going to have to take form to improve going into the next week against Virginia. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think the physicality piece is gonna be something that we just don't quite have yet, and at this point in the season, the depth across the board might start to hurt us a little bit too. I say my prediction is we do lose the game, but I say we give them a heck of a run for their money for at least 3 quarters before, the SEC referees start letting them hold our receivers and hold on the offensive line and all that good stuff.
yeah,
Just the little things they do to tilt the game in their favor. The biggest
fair.
reason why I think this is gonna be a struggle for the Cougs, to be honest, you mentioned Lane Kiffin, you mentioned they've had a lot of success over the last few years, but that 9:45 kickoff is just brutal. A lot of people hear 9:45, 10 o'clock, and they think, "Oh, that's not that bad." Well, you should be awake and ready to go by 10. But if do you realize that for college football games, the preparation starts 5, 6, 7 hours before kickoff? That means you're waking up at 4 in the morning to start getting ready for this game your time. I
Right.
know that Jimmy Rodgers will probably have some strategies in place to try to mitigate that, but it's hard on even NFL teams, let alone college kids. So this is just going to be a tough one all around. Brutal that they scheduled the game at the time, and kind of disappointing that it's going to be on the SEC network. I was really hoping that this could be a game that gets some attention, but that's all right. We'll have to wait till we're on the CW the next week against
Yeah.
Virginia to be back on national TV.
Yeah, that's another tough one. Virginia, I think, at home, it's just that they have so many returners, and mostly on defense, and I think that's going to be the key factor for them. I think the Cougs will put up a good fight, but I also think that that's going to be a game where potentially there's a loss there. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of more on that fence with Virginia, so
Okay, so you have them at 4-2 heading into the game, and you say win, loss. You got to decide. No sitting on the fence.
I'm gonna go Cougs.
Cougs get it done. I actually think we win this game too, and
Okay.
I think that like I said, this stretch in the season is going to be make or break. And I think being the optimist, I'm going to say we make it and we steal one from Virginia on the road. It's a much better kickoff time for us. Um, I do think it'll be a really, really close game, but I think it's again one of those moments where the doubters have to shut their mouths because we show a lot of signs of promise and find a way to win this game. I think it's going to be Zebi actually leading a game-winning drive to set up a field goal um, to win it. So that in my book now moves the Cougs to let's see, I had them to 2-2 winning. Sorry, lost track here. I had 2-2 out of the Apple Cup, winning
Yeah,
at Colorado State
three
3
and
and 2.
three,
So
and
3 and
now
3.
you're
3 going into
four.
Virginia. Now I'll say they moved to 4 and 3. Get that
Okay,
key fourth
we're
win.
not. We're not too terribly far apart. I only have, yeah, I'm at 5-2.
5-2. All right.
Yep.
5-2 would be nice. 5-2 would be really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you.
Okay. So,
The week after that,
yep.
it is a very competitive Toledo team who's competed very well on the MAC for quite a long while, but more recently has been towards the top of that conference. And
Gonna get to see some
yeah,
Matt.
and that's family weekend. So I think it's important for Cougs to get out and be there and just enjoy the atmosphere of being around other Cougs and the ambiance that's going to be provided. Um, Make sure you get your tent camping. I think it'll still be okay weather to do so. And,
Yeah.
just have fun with the family.
Yeah. A great kickoff time, 12:30. That usually allows for some of the fans to come down from Spokane, which is always nice. I do think the Cougs get the win here, despite Toledo playing us probably tough for at least a half, probably three quarters. But I do think the Cougs probably win by 10. I'm gonna say another 10-point victory for the Cougs. That
Yep.
and you're on board for that one too, huh?
6-2, 5-3. We're good, man.
And that's a big win to get to 6 wins with still
Yeah.
some room to spare. Uh, that's big. So I have the Cougs winning that one too, which in my prediction moves them to 5-3 on the year. Right, 5-3.
I'm at 6-2. Yep.
5-3. All right. Then the Cougs travel to Corvallis to take on fellow Pac-2 member Oregon. I love when you say it like that. Oregon State on November 1st. Again, another one on CBS. You like the Cougs in this one?
I have the Cougs splitting
Okay.
this series for the year.
Yep. Same here.
I'm actually going to go with the Cougs show up and show out in this one.
Okay.
And I think they get it done in Corvallis, but I have them
Right.
splitting the series this year. So,
Okay. Okay. Well, that kind of that kind of gives your prediction away for the end of the season too. This
yeah.
game, I'm worried about. You got Malik Murphy, the Duke QB transfer coming in. I think he's going to be pretty solid. You are in the second year of Trent Bray. They looked really good at the end of last year. They
They
got
look
tougher and
exceptional.
tougher. And I think the key here is that Oregon State will have a bye the week before. We will be coming off of a home game, but kind of a brutal month of October up to that point. So I think we battle, we give in a good effort, but I don't think the Cougs get it done here, and they drop to 5-4 on the season. You have them win. This is your seventh win. Seven
Yeah.
and 7-2.
2. Yeah.
Yeah.
7-2. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
then we walk into another bye week at that point, which is again pretty nicely timed. Obviously, it would have been nicer to have those East Coast trips split up a little bit. But we get a bye, and then we kind of get to reset heading into the last 3 games where I think they're going to be looking at can we win one more of these to get to a bowl game is going to be the question. In your book, they're going to be saying, can we win a couple more to get to a really nice bowl game?
Yes. I have the Cougs. I'm not even, yes. I think that the Cougs against Louisiana Tech on the 15th, they'll take them down. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game because even Louisiana Tech was 5-7 last season. They played in a bowl and they're still a competitive team.
Yep.
But I think the Cougs do take them and probably wrangle them with their defense and hold them up, and they can get some points going. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree. And don't forget, this might not be the most attended game this season because it's in November, weather gets cold, pass gets bad, late game, late kickoff, which always makes it a little bit tough. But we do have the Huskies playing us in basketball the Friday night before. So for all the Coug fans listening, that is a weekend that's worth getting over here and watching us take on the Dogs in basketball before for an awesome game against Louisiana Tech. So I have the Cougs winning that one as well. I think Louisiana Tech will be tougher than a lot of people anticipate, but I have us winning that game and clinching a bowl game to move on to 6-4, which will be really big. And I'm excited because I think you'll kind of get that off your chest, and then it takes the pressure off for the last 2 games, which is
yeah,
always a good thing. And then maybe the most I won't say weird, I'll say interesting matchup for the whole season comes the following week as the Cougars travel back to Virginia again to take on James Madison. And this is the only game that doesn't have a kickoff time quite yet, but that'll be November 22nd at James Madison. Your thoughts?
I First off, there's no better game day than being in Pullman when it happened in 2018. But if you wanted to get to the second best game day,
Yep.
it's James Madison, and the
Yeah.
third one, in my opinion, actually is North Dakota State.
Yeah.
I really think those communities really rally around, and it's fun watching their game days. It's
Totally.
exciting,
Yeah.
and not that I necessarily wanted to bring it up right now, but we'll be missing Lee Corso, obviously, doing the
Yeah.
show on Saturdays. But grateful for all the years to have watched him and
Yeah.
made the show what it was. So yeah, but going
Absolutely.
back to James Madison, I do believe we'll get this one. I think it's going to be actually a thriller of a matchup. I think this
I
will
do
just
too.
be a little bit of a shootout. Both teams just kind of feeling each other out.
Yeah.
Very, very high paced and or fast paced and competitive games. So
Yeah. This game scares me a little bit too. I mean, you're talking about one of, if not the best team in the Sun Belt. They have a bevy of great running backs. Um, they return 60 defensive starters. This game worries me. But let's go optimistic here. Let's say I like the Cougs winning this one. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why, but they get it done, I guess.
yeah. And actually, I was at 8-2 prior to this, so now I'm at 9-2 right now.
9-2. Wow, but we already know what happened in the last game. So
Yeah, I
that,
think it's
I'm
a
at
cold
you're at
one.
9-2. You're at
Yep.
I'm at 7 or yeah, that moves to 7-4.
Yep.
7-4.
And then we get back to the rematch for Oregon State at home, which is the last game of the season. I'll be looking forward to this one, but I think snow's coming in, and they're going to be playing in the snow for this game.
I
It'll be
have that feeling
fun.
too.
It'll be fun, but I think ultimately the team that can hold on to the ball and run it is going to be the team that wins. And I think with a little bit more experience, that's already there at Oregon State, I think they pull it out this time in Pullman. And I know fans aren't going to be excited to hear me say that, but it's just how I
Yeah.
feel. So
Oh, it's gonna leave such a bad taste in our seniors' mouths, their last game in Martin Stadium. And that's exactly actually why I think they win this game. No matter what type of season we've had to this point, I really do feel like we're going to split this series against Oregon State, primarily because it's just so hard to beat a team twice. And I think that whatever Oregon State did in that first matchup, Jimmy Rogers is going to make the adjustments, especially on defense, to shut it down. And I like the Cougs winning this one. And I have this weird feeling November 29th, it's going to be cold and there's going to be a little bit of snow mixed in. And it's going to be probably dark for the most part with the game kicking off at 3:30. So I think it's going to be a fun one. Hopefully a lot of Cougs show up to that one. I know I'll be there. We're going to do a little makeshift Thanksgiving that morning with the family that's going to be coming over the pass and celebrating that with us. So hopefully it's a good time and we see the Cougs win that to move in my books to 8. It's funny, we started off pretty different, but I have them finishing 8-4.
and I have them at 9-3.
9-3.
So not bad from either one of us. I think we
Yeah.
give them a lot of grace, but then also we kind of push the idea that maybe this won't happen. They're just different opponents at different times. It's still going to be a heck of a season, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I know I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, a lot of people, are kind of seeing this as an in-between year, right? Like we're not quite in the new conference. We got a first year head coach, but it's Cougar football, baby, and it's always
Oh, yeah,
exciting.
yeah, bullshit to those comments. Like it's time to show up and show out and be there, and that's why we're getting the $250 tents on the
There we
track
go.
field, right?
There we
So
go.
like,
I'm kind of
what's
excited about
up, man?
that, right? Little tent
Yeah.
city right outside the stadium. I think it'll get the players fired up and it'll be like the old the Beasley days. Back when people
Oh,
were having to camp outside of Beasley. A little colder then.
I think I shared this on a previous podcast, but I was out there. You can check what the temperature was. I don't remember the exact year. I think it had to have been the night of February 6th through the night of February 7th, that I camped out of 2008 in front of Beasley when the Cougs and UCLA were like the top 10 teams. And I
Oh
don't
yeah.
remember,
Oh yeah.
Drew and I will find this and put something in there up on our screen or something. But the wind that night was so loud, and it just came running through my tent with my friends, and we're all sitting there like huddled up like, all right, this is awesome. But we're just so stupid, like not knowing, like, we're just
Yeah.
a bunch of kids. But it was fun. I had a great time, and I had some family come and visit for that game too. So
Nice. Yeah, great memories on the basketball court. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that the students that to me, we'll kind of close with this. To me, X factor for attendance next year is the students. They make
it
everything.
always is. They make it so much better. They are the
They do.
best. Them
Yep.
and the band, when they work
Yep.
together, it is so much fun to see that energy come from them. So
Yep.
students,
Zoo
get to
crew.
every game, man.
We need you.
We need you so bad, man. Every game.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for listening to our season predictions. Hopefully, this was a little bit refreshing for you in the midst of all this realignment and media deal and all the junk that's floating around. We are only a handful of weeks away from the season starting and the start of the Jimmy Rogers era. So I hope you're as excited as we are. Thanks again for listening. I'm Drew Kalahar. This is Darrin Carlson. Make sure you like and subscribe and go Cougs.
Go Cougs.